Hillside. Well, on Sunday, Louie we're going through First and Second Peter, and so he went through the verses in First Peter, 1 verses 11 through 17. And let me just refresh your memory with that. It says, "Beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles to abstain from the passions of the flesh, which wage war against your soul. Keep your conduct among the Gentiles honorable, so that when they speak against you as evildoers, they may see your good deeds and glorify God on the day of visitation. Be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme, or to governors as sent by him, to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God. Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, and honor the emperor." And he talked about that balance of, being subject and honoring earthly institutions and authorities, while still ultimately, right, we're wanting to follow after Jesus, finding that line and not going right away to the exceptions and the extreme cases, right? And so then today in my Bible reading, I just started Esther. And so as I was reading, I was like, I see something here. And as I think about this passage in First Peter and what it means to be subject to human institutions and to honor the authorities, and what it means to keep your conduct honorable and to do good in order to put to silence the ignorance of foolish people, when I think about what that means in practicality, I thought, hey, I can think of Mordecai in the beginning of Esther. And so these are Jews living under the Babylonian king. And this isn't the king this is a couple kings removed from the king who took them captive. But this nation, this people, had taken the Jewish people captive. So they're living in exile, right? And this isn't a king that's friendly to them necessarily. Later on, you see a plot from some people to try to get rid of the Jews, right? But yet, in a way, they honor this human institution, this king who's not necessarily on their side, who you might think maybe you would want to go against so that you can have your own nation again, right? But Mordecai, what's he do in Esther? When he discovers a plot of, well, I guess back up first. First Esther, because this happens first. Esther is selected as one of these women that the king might choose as the next queen. And it says that when she was called to go into the king, she took the advisement of the eunuch on what she should bring. She did everything she could to make herself pleasurable to the king so that she could be chosen, to make herself favorable in his eyes. Mordecai later, once she's become king, discovers a plot of some people that want to kill the king, and she tells the king in the name of Mordecai, her cousin, and it comes out to be true. And Mordecai now has done something, protected this king, looked out for him, and made himself look favorable in the king's eyes. So then later they're able to use that. And then also you can think of back up to the king that did take the Jews into exile, why Mordecai and Esther were in this situation. Back up King Nebuchadnezzar, who took them, and Daniel was there, and he made himself favorable in the king's eyes, in King Nebuchadnezzar's eyes, by giving him interpretations, and then later when he shows him, he stands up for what he believes in later on, and his character shows through. Or you could also think of Joseph, back up even farther, who he's with the Pharaoh, and during the famine, he warns him, gives him the advice of how to prepare for the famine, gives him the interpretation, and he's elevated. And so making yourself favorable in those eyes of the human institutions by doing good, and then when they try to come against you with something, or when you do stand up, you put to silence the ignorance of the foolish people. And so I think those are good examples to look at, and maybe what might that be for us in our day and age, in our situations. So something to think about, piggybacking off of this Sunday. And that's all I have for you today. We'll see you next time, Hillside.